Pacers 1, Cavs 0. The Pacers go into Cleveland. They beat the Cavs in game 1. They steal home court advantage. They make tons of threes, and they've got to feel great. And we have a lot to discuss on today's Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, y'all? Happy Monday, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the up 1-0 Indiana Pacers. As always, my name is Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes, and today still in Rocket Fieldhouse, where the Pacers are up 1-0 in their series. They beat the Cavs by 9, and I think they just made another three just now as I'm talking, about an hour and a half after the game. Oh, they just made another one. Tough ones, open ones, it doesn't matter. They went in tonight. Pacers offense was humming. Their process was good. The results were better. The Cavs were off. They were missing an all-star, and the Pacers took advantage of a game they had to get. I'll explain why, but I think everybody kind of knows in a game that they looked pretty good. Their style, once again, rules the day. Their first road game 1 win of this era, and they now have home court advantage. If Tyrese Haliburton, who has never lost a home playoff game, if that continues this series, the Pacers will now win because they stole this one. So much to get to, but the start of the story here is the offense of the Pacers, who were on fire from deep in this game. Many have credited their shot making as an outlier shooting game, and in some ways that can be true. When you shoot 53%, that's obviously an outlier game, one of their top 5 percentages of the year when you look back through their regular season game log. And of course, they will look back and say, man, some of those were a little lucky. Bennedict, Mathurin at the buzzer of the shot clock late in the first half. Myles Turner at the buzzer of the third quarter, although wide open as he shot faked and let a defender go flying by him. Andrew Nembhard on the right wing at the buzzer of the shot clock in the fourth quarter. He had another tough one. Ben Mathurin had a tough one in the corner to end a Cavs run in the third quarter. A lot of threes that were legitimately challenging threes. The Pacers don't not get credit for making them. Those are tough shots that they made. That's what basketball is all about. But the other 14, 13, whatever numbers left of the makes were earned threes that the Pacers have shown throughout the playoffs that when they're playing the way they want, which they did for most of this game, and I think they'll be happy with the pace that they set, they can make and take with just about anybody on the floor. The Cavs wanted to switch. That was a big talking point coming into the series, is would that switching defense look like the Bucks defense in the second half of game 3, or could the Pacers tear it apart? Jarrett Allen ends up on guard sometimes. Evan Mobley's on everybody. Donovan Mitchell is on everybody, and that led to the Pacers being able to throw skip passes to open threes, right? When guys are switching, there's tends to be guys pinching in to cover for the switch or whatever, and Tyrese Haliburton ripped that up. 13 assists and just 1 turnover for Tyrese Haliburton. Again, stat lines that, if you watch the Pacers all the time, seem very routine and normal. That is not normal. That is extremely rare to do. That's a good number for like a team in a quarter or a half. He had more than half of the Cavs total assist number, for example, just on his own. And Andrew Nembhard, 6 assists, 0 turnovers on his own in this game. They were both moving the ball very, very well, as the Pacers offense process-wise was still good. And so I get how you will hear a lot after this game of analysis that says, man, the variance, the shot making for the Pacers on their side. And in a lot of ways it was. They made some tough threes. They made over half of their threes. They're going to win a lot of games, if not all of them, when that happens. And the Cavs also missed a lot of threes. But if you generate enough good ones, you're going to make threes. And the Pacers did that in this game. And that wasn't the end of their offensive experience, because they shot better on 2s than 3s. And of course, that should be the case every game. But they got good looks inside too. And I think that's where the Cavs switching defense really caused them some problems, right? Not that you want to target Jarrett Allen. He's a good defensive player. But when he got switched on to a guard or a perimeter player, whoever for the Pacers went at him. They were not afraid to go against the fro and try to take it to the basket against him. I was very surprised by that. Sometimes that led to Siakam settling for shots against him that I thought the Pacers would not really care for. But a lot of times that led to them getting into the paint where they can play the way they want with paint to great basketball. The points in the paint battle was dominated by the Cavs, 70-38, but the Pacers scoring in the lane and the passes they got to better shots from that spot on the floor was still very good in this game. That's why their assist numbers were so solid and their turnover numbers, albeit a little too high, from the players that were routinely making the passes, were not particularly high. So I think they've got to be thrilled, even in a game where people will go, oh, well, they can't shoot that well again. Yeah, probably not. But they still did a lot of stuff well that they can do again. And the evidence for that would be, 1, that they just did it against a pretty good defensive team, and 2, that they did it the entire first round. You guys heard me after every game practically against the Bucks going, well, man, the Pacers got whatever shot they wanted for 40, 48, 45, whatever minutes, and the Bucks couldn't stop them. And yeah, the Bucks went on a run late, but it didn't matter. The Pacers got the shots they wanted and they won the game, right? That happened every game in the first round, basically. And so Cavs, better defensive team, better talent, but missing a key player and unable to score as much as they usually do. They can't set their defense as much. The Pacers absolutely took advantage of that. And you will see quotes that this was a shot, like about the shot making in this game. It's one of the first things Rick Carlisle said, mostly because it was one of the first things he was asked about. But he said, we had an exceptional shot making night. Later, he said, shot making is great when they go in, but they got to focus on the process all series long, right? Like that was a very clear message from the Pacers. But Andrew Nembhard on the process part said, I think the ball movement was good and the threes were in rhythm. A lot of times when a lot of guys are touching the ball, it has good energy about it, right? Like clearly they felt good about their play and their ball movement, their offensive processes. It wasn't like the Wizards game in February, if you remember that, where the Pacers were in DC and they needed Herculean shooting to get to overtime and then beat the Wizards, where their offense was bad, but their shot making was awesome. No one after the game was pimping their hits about the offense, right? They were not happy about it. They just happened to make shots. This time they were happy about it, right? Tyrese Haliburton said, it's good that we get this game out of the way so I get more film to look at, right? They didn't have a lot of relevant film against the Cavs in regular season. Now they have it, and their offensive process in it, despite not having that many reps against them, was still good. That speaks to their preparedness in a way that I thought it did against the Bucks as well. But big picture, when I remember this win, and I think most people will, this will be remembered for the shot making and the offense that the Pacers generated. And that basically extended to everyone. Tyrese Haliburton, you guys get to hear the Tony East line, was wonderful on twos inside the arc. He had a wonderful game, 22 points and 13 assists. He made 7 twos on 9 attempts, plus 2 free throws. He's talked a lot in the past about how he feels like the mom of the offense, the way he's, asked to get everybody involved and move the ball. Somebody asked him after the game how he did being a mom today. Very well was the answer. And we'll talk more about him later, but his defense was amazing in this game. Myles Turner made shots. He hit the biggest 3 of the game to me at the end of the third quarter. The third quarter was the only Cavalanche, a 17-4 Cavs run made it close, but some huge shots from the Pacers to weather that storm. Ben Mathurin hit a huge 3 with 2 minutes to go after the Cavs went up 4. I think that was the Cavs' biggest lead of the second half, and Donovan Mitchell was rolling before Ben Mathurin hit a corner 3 on a pass from Haliburton. That was a huge shot. And then Myles Turner at the buzzer of the quarter on an assist from Pascal Siakam, the next biggest shot of the game, of the quarter, whatever you want to say. It put the team up 2 and really allowed them to put it away and feel comfortable heading into the fourth quarter in a way they wouldn't have without those 2 makes. That was, again, part of their offensive process, but some nice shot making and some huge ones there. But anyway, Turner gets credit for that end of third quarter shot. Aaron Nesmith was and has been this whole playoffs just so rock solid, scoring the ball, 17 points in this one. He made 4 threes. Pascal Siakam made some timely 2s in this one. So still good stuff from the Pacers on the offensive, but those guys were all very good. And Ben Mathurin did play a very good game off the bench. He certainly had some layups he missed that he would like back, but he also certainly thought he got fouled. 2 of them on one possession. He did get fouled. I'm not a ref guy, but then he got it back on the other end when he blocked DeAndre Hunter in one of the biggest swing plays of the game. That a foul was uncalled, even though Mathurin hit him in the chest with his left hand. The refs were letting stuff go at the rim today. As much as players, and I saw people tweeting about the belly aching of the refs, I thought they called it actually pretty consistently without calls at the rim. Regardless, he had a good shot-making game. Obi Toppin made half of his shots. TJ McConnell was 3 for 5, and that's what the Pacers want, the balance that they got today. 6 in double figures, 2 guys with 7 points. Their leading scorer, Andrew Nembhard, with 23 points. How does Nembhard keep scoring 20 points? And I'm like, he is like, 8, 9? Oh, no, he is over 20. It's remarkable. So a lot of themes from the first series pop up today. The Pacers offense was able to generate largely good shots. They made a lot of them. They made tough shots too. That can be contagious, but a lot of new stuff in that it's against a different team, and the balance was there. They have not had a 30-point score yet in the postseason, and yet their offense still is humming and rolling, and they're doing stuff very well. And they're up 1-0 against the Cleveland Cavaliers because of their offense. Thus, we're 14 for 15 from the foul line. Turnovers were really their only offensive blemish in this game, and I guarantee we'll talk about turnovers later. It already has been talked about by the Pacers. But in general, wouldn't you know it, an offensive team, a team that I wrote a story about before the postseason, should be leaning into their offense for their adjustments in this series. And a team that needed to score to keep up with the Cavs did exactly that. They scored. They kept up with the Cavs. They did just enough defensively to win. And the Pacers lead 1-0. So much more to get to from this game. Why the Pacers needed it. Stuff that's going to change in game 2. Stuff that didn't go so well for the Pacers. It's all coming today on Locked On Pacers. Before we get to any of that, This show is sponsored by Betterhelp. The world has made a lot of progress when it comes to mental health, but there's still a long way to go. Too many people still avoid therapy because they're afraid of being judged. But the truth is, taking care of your mental health should be just as normal as going to the gym or eating healthy. It's Mental Awareness Month. Let's normalize getting help and encourage everyone to prioritize their well-being, because when people feel supported, families, workplaces, and entire communities are better for it. So many people have had major help from therapy. It's not just about dealing with big problems, it's about maintaining your mental wellness, just like you do with your physical health. And with BetterHelp, getting started is easier than ever. As Fly Online has a network of over 30,000 licensed therapists, and you can switch at any time for no extra cost. We're all better with help. Visit betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. We're back here on Locked On Pacers. Thanks for making us your first listen today and every single day. Make your second listen Locked On Cavs. Danny Cunningham with the Cavs angle on this game. And him and I have a crossover coming up on both of our feeds that we plan on doing after every game, 20 minutes together on the game, which makes it easy to get into my own thoughts because I can hash them out with him. It's awesome. You'll enjoy that. It'll also be out today with bonus pod at the front of it. Okay, other things from this game that stood out as important. One that I already mentioned, Tyrese Haliburton's defense. What? He switched on to both Ty Jerome and Donovan Mitchell in the fourth quarter, got huge stops. His lateral movement was sublime in this game. 3 blocks, 1 steal. He defended very well. Maybe the best defensive game he's played with the Pacers. Certainly the best playoff defensive game he's played with the Pacers. And this game was like still kind of hanging in the balance for some of these stops. It was like a 6-4, 8-point game in the final minutes at times. Haliburton's block on the Strus 3 came when they were up 8. And Strus had been hitting some threes throughout the game. His block before that was on Ty Jerome with the same score. Like, he just was everywhere. And I thought that was huge for the Pacers in this game, the way he was able to defend it, the way that they were able to defend the Cavs pretty well. Yes, the Cavs will, like the Pacers this will be talked about as a shot-making game. Many who cover the Cavs or many national views of this game will probably talk about this as a shot-missing game for Cleveland, who's normally a great shooting team. 1 of 11 for Donovan Mitchell. They were 9 of 38. As a team, Mitchell had to be a little bit more of a one-man band without Darius Garland, but 13 for 30 for him. Their defense on him was okay, I thought. I don't think that is quite reflective of the defense they played. He had 33 points and took 9 free throws. Ty Jerome had an off night. I'm getting ahead of myself. The Pacers' defense in general, I thought in this game from Haliburton was quite good. They had good defense against Max Strus most of the night. Haliburton was on him at times, not always. He ended up getting the Sam Merrill assignment for a lot of this game as he ends up starting in Garland's play. I thought that was a keynote. I thought Andrew Nembhard's defense was once again very good. No turnovers for Nembhard's always huge. He was plus 21. I mean, he's just been awesome in this playoffs, and forget his regular season shooting percentages. Let it fly. He goes 5 for 6 from deep, and once again, a toe on the line jumper. So he was close to 6 for 7, but that's a 2. It doesn't count. I thought that was very noteworthy in this game. Aaron Nesmith's defense was amazing in this game, but foul trouble limited how much it could actually be there. And you can call foul trouble not good defense. I think that is totally fair. He did have 5, but I thought he defended pretty well at times in this game. So I thought those were important individual notes in this one. Rotationally, we'll talk about this really quick before we talk about some Cavs stuff and move on to adjustments. We saw the Pacers do a couple things that were interesting. Ben Mathurin, by far the most played bench player. Some of that was the aforementioned Nesmith foul trouble, but he hit 3 threes. And when we talked to him about his first round series at practice this week, part of what he said he hoped would be better in this round was shot making. There you go. He's got to be better inside the arc, 1 for 5 on 2s with no free throw attempts. Even though I already mentioned this game had nothing called at the rim, is very un-Mathurin-like, but 11 points on 10 shots is fine. And his defense in a game like this where there's not a lot called is important. He had some huge plays to turn the game tonight, like with that block, with that corner 3 that I already mentioned. He's got to be happy with how he played. Congrats to Buddy Hield and the Golden State Warriors, who just closed out the Rockets and are moving on to the second round. Buddy Hield, also a good defensive game. Buddy Hield and Tyrese Haliburton defending well on the same day. What realm is this? But anyway, Mathurin, this was one of his better playoff games this entire postseason, I thought, even though the stats don't really pop and show it. And I think he can be good in this series if he can defend on the ball pretty well. The Cavs have a lot of good ball handlers in this game. Anyway, rotationally, besides him playing the most minutes off the bench, as I keep bouncing off the walls with random notes I want to get in there, Ben Shepherd only 7.5 minutes, right? I talked about thinking this could be a Ben Shepherd series because of him needing to guard one of Mitchell or Garland. Well, there was no Darius Garland in this game, so less of him is fine. And he missed his only shot attempt. Look, if his offense isn't there, they need to tilt offense in this series. I think a lot of the time, yes, I think he needs to be out there for defense. It helps him get in transition. But if he's not helping them enough defensively, or he's not needed for defense because of who's available for the Cavs, they should play him less. And they did that today. Thomas Bryant, who I thought might play because the Cavs front court did not play in the first half, but they needed him in the second half. It was so interesting to see this happen online. The fan base, all the replies to my tweets or posts or whatever app it's on, were like, oh, the rebounding's terrible right now. They can't get a board. They need to rebound better. And then Thomas Bryant, maybe the best rebounder on the team, comes in the game and everybody's like, what are they doing? Why is Thomas Bryant coming in the game? I don't think Thomas Bryant played very well in his minutes. We can talk about them now. I mean, the moment that, like, Danny told me this when we did our crossover talking about the game, one of the moments that some people were like, oh, man, the Pacers might just have it tonight from a shot-making perspective. An 11-foot Thomas Bryant fadeaway jumper at the buzzer of the shot clock to start the fourth quarter. He was truly fine. I'm being a little harsh. He did grab 2 boards in his minutes, right? That's what they needed him to do. His defense, though, was, I mean, as soon as he gets in a switch, he's beat, and like it's tough for him to guard 2 guys when that happens. Yes, tilting offense maybe has him on the floor, but I thought he'd play and he did for the reasons he played is the reasons I thought he would play. But now that this game is over, I kind of feel like the Pacers' best bench options in the series will be Mathurin, McConnell, Toppin, and Walker. Maybe Shepherd a little bit here and there to just get some rest time for the guards. But that's what stood out to me in that way for the Pacers. Let's talk about some other Pacers defensive things. They didn't force a lot of turnovers. Their rebounding wasn't great, but they did okay pestering Donovan Mitchell. I thought, Nembhard had that assignment. Mitchell after the game, his interview should be on my personal YouTube channel. You can see him say, yeah, he just missed shots, right? 1 for 11 from deep. He could make those. He liked most of his looks in the game. That is something the Pacers need to keep an eye on because the Cavs front court was great. 15 for 20 combined for Allen and Mobley. In this game, off the bench, Dean Wade gave him good minutes, even though he didn't make a shot. But the Pacers' defense was, in general, okay. They did a pretty good job getting out to shooters. Not great. The Cavs will be happy with their shot quality, but they left Isaac Okoro wide open, completely wide open. They were not afraid of him shooting. They did a good job on Ty Jerome, making life hard on him in the paint. Yes, Ty Jerome had 8 assists and 21 points. He did not feel that impactful on the floor in this game. I am very surprised he didn't end up in the starting 5 in the second half. Right, the Pacers, I thought, defended okay in this game. When Garland returns, we'll see what shifts, but I think they'll be happy generically with their play on the defensive end. Let's talk about some stuff that did not go so well for the Pacers that game 2 will be all about. Thing 1 to me is, look, they shot awful. I mean, that's not going to happen again. The 23% would be including regular season, their second or third lowest. I can't remember 3-point percentage of the entire season. That alone proves that it's going to be a little higher, and the Pacers will certainly be worse. But again, the Pacers process was good. The pace, I didn't get to that. That favored the Pacers as well. Early in the game, the tempo was all Indiana. Cleveland slowly kind of got it to a speed they want, but it took too long. And when they're not making shots, they can't really dictate the pace. Anyway, the Pacers defensively, they'll probably see more threes go in from Cleveland in the next game. Regardless of that, their paint defense has to be way, 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 way better. 70 points in the paint for the Cavs in this game. The Pacers gave up 70 or more points in the paint only 4 times this season. They actually won 2 of those games. One was against Orlando, one was their awesome win in Denver. But that's not good. You can look and see if they give up 64 more points in the paint, they're 3-10 or something like that. It's not good to be giving up that many shots at the rim. And the Cavs made it not easy, but kind of easy, right? They didn't have as many of this play, the play that I thought would be a big talking point, which is a guard gets into the paint, Myles Turner has to step up to guard that guy, a lob just goes over his head. I think the Cavs only had 2 of those, and I think one of Jared Allen's was in kind of transition, so that wasn't a thing that killed the Pacers, but they were finishing really, really well around the basket. I mean, just peep the Cavs shot chart if you can. The NBA.com one can kind of display it perfectly. They have so much green in the paint, and some floaters were dropping, some tough layups were dropping. The Pacers clearly had less volume at the rim. The Cavs were determined to get there. 12 2-point makes from Donovan Mitchell, 6 from Jared Allen, 7 from Evan Mobley, 3 from DeAndre Hunter, 7 for Ty Jerome. Right, that is the number one thing the Pacers must figure out in game 2 is how can and they gave up not great quality threes from the Cavs, but pretty good ones. How can their general defense has to be better, but how can they defend the paint better without just giving up Cavalanche wide open threes all night? Because they need to be better at the rim, especially if Darius Garland returns from this toe thing in the next game. Because their paint defense was not good in this game. I thought Aaron Nesmith made a great point that I didn't really think about after the game when he was talking about their paint defense being better. He said a lot of the baskets that they had around the basket for their paint points were off of offensive rebounds, and that is a good point. They had quite a few of those, 13 offensive rebounds for the Cavs, and their personnel and ball movement is really good at capitalizing on that, right? 70 points in the paint, 21 second chance points for the Cavs, only 4 for the Pacers. So that is something that like goes in tandem with something I said earlier. Two of the main themes of the adjustments for the Pacers from their players and Rick Carlisle was rebounding and turnovers. And that's going to come, that will help points in the paint just naturally by existing, right? So I think that is an important thing to keep an eye on, is how can the Pacers limit that? I guarantee there's one other thing that will make the Cavs better in game 2 that the Pacers will have to be ready for, but the Pacers can be better too. A couple more things to get to from Pacers-Cavs game 1. Before we do that, we got to talk about Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That is where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, or many do, they see how much you're spending on things like food delivery. Now they budget smarter and save more. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track your spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off of your first year. Back here on Locked On Pacers, thanks for making it your first listen today and every single day. Locked On Warriors, your second listen. They're on to the second round. Awesome matchups in the second round. Obviously, Cavs-Pacers, which we just saw, was quite fun. SGA versus Jokic, amazing. Steph versus Ant, a lot of young versus old. In the West, Celtics-Knicks is going to be as high profile as it gets. Great job by the NBA. 7 of the 8 teams from last year's semifinals return. So lots of storylines. It's awesome. Great work by everyone involved to get it to this point. The West is going to be awesome. I am getting away from the story of this game. Okay, Pacers-Cavs game 2. Look, Darius Garland, I thought was going to play. I didn't even hardly talk about him leading up to the series. He went through a practice on Friday. I don't know how significant or full it was. Danny Cunningham could tell you more about that, but I think it was pretty close to full. But then this toe thing is apparently more significant, and they're talking about it on the TNT broadcast. I want to say it was Jared Greenberg, and like if it came to pass in late April, they're getting close to like almost 2 weeks, honestly, since that injury could have been a thing. So I was surprised that he didn't play. I thought he might. Even Rick Carlisle joked with us before the game. Someone asked him about how the Cavs might look different without him. He said, "Oh, he's probably, he's playing." I'm paraphrasing, but the assumption was that he'd be out there, and he wasn't. This toe thing apparently a big deal. Kyle Anderson apparently started this with the Heat. I got a question in my Twitter feed about like, are the Cavs, could they be better without him? Their defense? No. He is amazing. I have, perhaps wrongly at times, parroted that I thought he was the Cavs' best offensive player this season. He's amazing. He's really good. That alone will make game 2 more stressful for the Pacers. It's someone else who's awesome to guard. And that will, like one of Nembhard or Nesmith, whoever didn't have to guard Mitchell on a given possession, like that is less energy they're spending. And look at that. They both had awesome offensive nights. They were 9 for 12 from deep. That will be harder alone if they have to defend one of the Cavs' other stars, right? So keep that in mind, that even if you think Garland's a 0, guarding him takes effort, right? And so that obviously will swing things significantly. And that's why this game was so important, right? I tweeted this. I saw Caitlin Cooper did as well. I think most people thought this or also shared this. Like when this game was close to start the fourth quarter and Thomas Bryant had that post photo, I was thinking like, man, they're getting a gift that Darius Garland, the Pacers are getting a gift that Darius Garland is not playing in game 1. He was an all-star this year. He's very good. And they're getting a gift that the Cavs are not shooting as well as they could, albeit without an offensive creator. So they should shoot worse than normal. And they're getting a gift that they are all hitting shots. Granted, they earned that. That is not, I get what the term shooting variance is. I say it sometimes. It is now becoming overused. People just say like, oh, they can get a shooting variance win and win. Like, just that shooting variance is a thing if you like make a bunch of tough shots. If you create open shots and make them, that's not variance. That's like talent and ability. And that's why I led with some of the Pacers threes not being as easy as they'd like, but they generated like 30 good threes in this game or 28 or something. And they made a lot of those. That's not a variance thing, but they don't typically shoot that well. That I will give you on the variance part, as they were a little above what you'd expect, even with their high quality of threes, regardless. The Pacers, with Garland out and being barely up to start the fourth quarter, I thought with them shooting well and the Cavs not shooting well and Garland out, the Pacers need to get this game. Right? If they want to earn a chance to have a much better chance, and all of you can laugh at me. I said Cavs in 6. I'm already on the back foot. Please make fun of me. If I'm wrong, please, you have my permission to make fun of me, including right now. They needed to get this win, and they did. right? That is perhaps one of the biggest stories of the game. It'll probably be my headline for my story is Pacers got a chance to earn a win on the road, and they seized it. And they deserve a lot of credit for that, right? For the way that they responded to adversity in the second half. People talk about these Cavs runs. They call them a Cavalanche. I love that name. The 17-4 run made me think, oh boy, here they go, right? I don't remember exactly when it started, but the Cavs' biggest lead was at the end of it in that third quarter. I think it was 68-80 after an Aaron Nesmith three. And then Nesmith committed his fifth foul. Not long after that, he came out of the game. And that from that point on, it was a 17-4 Cavs run. And I think their lead was 88-84. Yeah, that's correct. And then I talked about the big Mathurin three that came after that and kind of restabilized the Pacers. That run happened in like 4 or 5 minutes. They scored a ton of points like that. That's what the Cavs are really good at, right? And so the Pacers responding to that was huge. The big shot from Mathurin and the continued response after that. Obviously, the Mathurin shot's the big one because it directly ended the Cavs run, but they had other baskets in the quarter. Tyrese Haliburton drove to the basket. Myles Turner hit the corner three at the buzzer. Amazing patience from Turner on that shot, right? So a ton of credit where credit is due for the Pacers for doing what they had to do. People always talk about the shot making to me in a way that's too linear. Linear is not even the right word. Just too not. I don't even know what I'm saying. It's too shallow. And the Pacers did a great job of taking advantage of the good shooting that they earned in this game. Other things to keep an eye on in game two, besides the rotation, besides the adjustments, I'll just run through the notebook a little bit. Siakam missing early with Mobley chasing him. Mobley has that kind of impact, right? He was in transition. He missed at the rim. It ended up being a foul call, but Mobley's everywhere. I think if he's on Siakam again, which that kind of toggled, Allen was on him sometimes and Mobley was on Turner, you can expect whoever Mobley's on to have a quiet game, right? Keep him away from the play. Don't even have him set screens. Don't even let him be involved because you could see on that play, Siakam had an open layup in transition, but Mobley's just right behind him, a light tap, like you're freaking out. He misses. He could have made that one, right? The Cavs switched a lot. I think the Pacers expected that because that's how the Cavs defend. I think the Cavs will be a little better at doing that in game two, but two, the Pacers did a great job of like skip passes, throwing past that. Keep an eye on that in game two. Can the Cavs be ready for those Haliburton skip passes or whoever from getting that going? Another note on Mobley. He forced a travel on a top-end jumper. Like they don't think he could close out from there, and he did. He's just a beast. And he was eating in the second quarter when the Pacers started sending two guys to Donovan Mitchell on ball screens. Mitchell would just back up a step and flip it into Mobley for a basket in the middle. So the Pacers, I think, need to be crisper on those coverages, defending two, whether that's either not sending two to Mitchell, which good luck with that, or whoever the low man is has to get down there to defend Evan Mobley because he was just running to the rim. He had some easy finishes. I thought the defense on those specific pick and rolls needs to be better for the Pacers. I thought the Pacers' pace, I have mentioned this a few times, was very good in this game. It's the pace that they would want. They got the shots early. They were very rarely late in the shot clock, and when they did, they got a relatively good look in those moments. I mentioned Ben Shepherd and maybe him not playing. He got cooked by Ty Jerome a few times. He just can't play if that's what's happening, right? He's not good enough of a shot maker of late to play if Ty Jerome's just getting by him to the basket. Aaron Nesmith, I haven't talked about him enough. He was just fantastic, minus the fouls. I guess I have talked about him a lot. He was just terrific. This is his playoffs so far. The ascent is there. He can do it on the biggest stage. I mean, the Pacers just absolutely need him. And if they can play him more, like that's another thing people will talk about, like shot making and all that. Like if Nesmith fouls much and he plays the same minutes as the rest of the starters, 33 plus, great. That's 9 more minutes of one of the Pacers' best 5 players on the floor. Like that's obviously very significant. Strus was on Haliburton to start the second half after Sam Merrill started the game on Tyrese Haliburton. Sam Merrill starting for Garland. He did not play particularly well, I thought, in this game, but I did talk about that leading up to the series. Kenny Atkinson loves to tip towards shooters when he makes lineup choices. He did there with Sam Merrill, and they were guarding each other, Haliburton and Merrill. Well, I did not think that was the choice that the Cavs would make, and I didn't like it and helped the Pacers. I think Strus on Haliburton to start the second half is what the Cavs will get back to as this series progresses. Jarris Walker hit a floater in this game that was very clean. I like his offensive process more and more every day. That's why I think he should be the 9th guy that plays. Just a very good game for the Pacers, right? Their rotation changed a little bit because of foul trouble in the second half and them wanting to get the size of Thomas Bryant out there. But regardless of who was on the floor, I think they felt good about their pace control. They felt great about their shot making. And you know what they feel the best about? They're winning the series 1-0. If they win every game at home the rest of the way, it will be Pacers in 6 instead of Cavs in 6. And I get to look like an idiot, and you all get to laugh at me. And that is the most fun part of this. That's a joke. You all enjoyed the win. Hopefully much more than that. Thank you all so much for listening today. Again, another 20-minute episode with Danny Cunningham for the Cavs perspective will also be up wherever you're listening or watching right now. Then tomorrow I'll have a Pacers guest on to talk more game 1, adjustments for game 2, So be on the lookout for that. And then I'm in Cleveland. So Game 2 podcast right after from either the arena or my hotel room. Thank you all so much for listening to this one. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Tony R. Reese. This podcast is on Twitter at Locked On Pacers. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you very soon.